Alrighty, we are here with game number 1 of the winners match. Up here on the top right-hand side of the map, we have from Team NVIDIA on the After Hours Gaming League team for NVIDIA, I guess, is our random player.
440 Gaming.
Kirulan. Does that work with your thing? And then down here on the bottom left-hand side, go slower? Okay. So down on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have from Team CT6, Chobo Team 6, it is y54. And, of course, he spotted the proxy already. That Kirulan is doing. He's trying to get the barracks down. He has halted production on
Boomerang.
So he will have to abandon this facility. And will be trying to make a barracks in his own base. Had to be canceled there. Did you miss that? I can also hear myself in your mic. But, yeah, we got double barracks going down at home here now to try and compensate for his losses. The SCV is going to die as the awesome probe does get taken out. But a lot of lost mining time and a lot of just lost time in general here as I don't even know what this fourth SCV is doing. He goes home now back to mine. The refinery is even up, and of course he won't be mining anymore from that. He's got 200 gas already. I think maybe almost because he forgot to take it off, or he was potentially looking to proxy widow mines at that location, actually, with how much gas he took. But he will get the 2 barracks up. Our Protoss player, definitely no worse for wear. He is pretty much on schedule with his build, only losing a little bit of time pulling off probes to make sure that the barracks did not actually go up. And Mothership Core is out on the way. And yeah, I kind of like this decision from him. Is he's just going to say, well, I think you're behind, so I'm going to straight up forgate. And that seems to be the call that he is making here now. We'll see if this SCV that is coming out to scout will get this information. The Stalker will take a poke at the SCV, who is obviously here to check whether or not an expansion was taken yet. Probe now out on its way. You can tell that that is going to put a proxy pylon down. It's going to be a little bit late, I think, in actually getting there. This is a pretty big map, but it'll be close enough. The gateways are, of course, done here now. We'll see. Yeah, there we go. I was just going to say, we'll see if Kirulan was tipped off to the fact that this is definitely coming, and get the bunker in place. Even with it, it may be a little rough to make a defense out of this. He's got only Marauders, so the Mothership Core is going to be a big key on this part of things. The Warp Gate just now finishing. He will convert the gates. There we go. And, yeah, Pylon is just finishing. Throwing down another one up on the high ground as he starts the first round of Warp-ins. And he's got his lovely Mothership Core for the high ground vision. Currently, the bunker, actually nothing in it. The Marauders are all off to the side there. He's working on stem, but that still is a fair bit off. The first Stalker getting attacked and pushed back. This, unfortunately, does kind of give the warning to his opponent to get some SCVs ready to prepare for dealing with that bunker and keeping it repaired. He will be going after the supply depot there. The Marauders do load into the bunker. He's got a lot of damage on it already, and no repair is going off. Zealots going after the Marauders, but the Stalkers were not really helping out in all of that. They were firing away at a supply depot, but they're still going to get up into the main here, and with only Marauders coming out, there's nothing to actually stop this Mothership Core from just kind of attacking throughout. Marauders obviously really good against the Stalkers, but with a few Zealots now in the base as well, he's going to town on these SCVs, and this may be another quick one as we have y54 taking advantage of the fact that his opponent obviously was delayed by everything. now trying to get the pylon here up as well, as more zealots are being brought in. Another supply depot will go down. The pylon is up on the high ground, so he's going to be able to advance more and more. One tech lab going down. That'll be the last Marauder coming out of there for a while, and probably for the whole game, because I don't really think he's going to recover. The the Zealots just kind of going after everything here. Very few workers left. Supply just kind of dropping here for Kirulan. More warp-ins, and he's going to have to bow out of this one as soon as he's completely overrun at this point. And that is GG. We will be going on to game number 2. Alrighty, we are back here on Overgrowth, and we have up in the top right-hand corner, spawning as Zerg this game from Team NVIDIA, it is Kirulan, trying to come back from an 0-1 deficit, and his opponent on the bottom left-hand side of the map, it is our Protoss player, Chobo Team 6's y54. Going for the double gas right off the bat here, as he does see that his opponent is a Zerg player. It can be, I always feel that as Protoss, the one that I want to see the least as a random is Zerg, because you've kind of already made decisions that you potentially would not have made against a Zerg player if you had known that's what they were from the beginning. Just with the other two, it doesn't matter as much. You're going to get a pylon, you're going to get a gateway at basically the same time. But with Zerg, obviously, you have the option to go for a Forge Fast Expand, to go Nexus first, to do all kinds of other things. So you may be playing a little bit off your normal game against Zerg when you are facing a random Zerg player. And it looks like Y54 is going to sneak a probe off to the left-hand side of the map, the top left corner there, potentially for some shenaniganery. He has gone for the double gas again, and we've seen him do this against Terran, where he ends up with a Stargate in that position. I'm not sure if that will be the case this time around, or potentially it being for just a proxy pylon a bit later on in the game. Twilight Council is actually coming down behind the mineral line, so could he be actually going for a DT play on top of this, or is this a blink play or something to that effect? It's hard to tell at this point, but he's not chronoing out Warp Gate or anything. He did get a Stalker. Will he continue with a second one or anything like that? He's getting a lot of gas, obviously. We'll see if he starts the blink as this does finish, or whether, well, he hasn't put a forward pylon up, so I wouldn't imagine. Yeah, there it is. It's a Dark Shrine in his own base. And he has sent the Stalker out to pick off this Overlord before it can get anywhere near that technology. So covered there, he's got the Stalker out looking around the normal locations for where the second Overlord may be coming in. It is coming in over to the right side of the map here, so it's going to be quite a while if he does decide to swing in before he gets to the main base. Basically, I think the Dark Shrine would be done long before he actually would be able to get there anyway. And we got 2 more gateways coming down. And you'll see this a lot. Like I said, it was a case where he had to open a certain way because it's a Zerg player that is random. And that does lead to certain things. He's got to chase this little Zerg down. Hopefully this Stalker will get him, or else, yeah, that would have been disastrous if just a single little Ling did detect this Dark Shrine. He still hasn't put a proxy pylon up. There it comes just now. He's still on good pace. He doesn't have Warp Gate done just yet, and these 2 additional gateways won't finish for another few seconds. So things should be ready just in time for that pylon to finish. He is going to run right under the Overlord with this probe. And Stalker's coming up, pushing in front of the base. I think he was detecting just a straight-on attack, and so he's got 2 spine crawlers here but does not have detection. He does, however, have a lair, so he will be able to get detection after this, but the first DT is coming on in. And will he make additional ones? Yep, they're just right behind. And he sees it right away and is getting the Overseer in place. Going after the Spine Crawlers up front. Almost got that Overseer before it was able to come in. Now he does have detection here. And he's going to get driven back. He will go after the Overseer to clear that out. And that, of course, will free up the ability for the DTs to come back in, but against roaches, it does take them a long time to actually kill anything. The Overseer's being morphed in yet again. He's kind of aimless in what he's doing here. He'll get some damage done, but it's not. This isn't decisive, I don't think. 2 queens is good, but he will end up giving up the DTs for it. I don't know if any of them will get out here. He's trying to. Well, if the roaches don't attack, then he will. So one does get away. He'll go back after that pylon and clean that up. So not as devastating as it could have been. And in fact, because he's just now getting his own Nexus done, or not even done, he's just getting it down on his own side, I would have to say that the Zerg is way ahead on this one. He's got 40 drones already up. He's got his hatcheries down. No real critical damage went down. He's going to be missing out on a few larvae, obviously, because the queens did die. So that is definitely a pickup there. But it's not really that crucial. This wasn't the type of critical damage he needed for the amount of resources that ultimately went into this. If these roaches end up attacking prior to, they won't get there before the Nexus is finished, and he will have Photon Overcharge available. Killing the Changeling there. Willie, the other one swinging wide, trying to go around him. Wants to take a look at whether there is a third base in play, but the roaches are just going to go on home. Probably the right call, given that he will have a Photon Overcharge available. Even though it does take a long time to kill roaches, if he doesn't know what he has, so if he had a sentry or two, that would be obnoxious. One more DT getting warped in here, going after the third base over on the left-hand side. But that will get completely cleaned up, and the third will continue along just fine. He's now switched into Stargate Tech here and is powering out some... his first Void Ray. Spores, of course, going up in both mineral lines just in case for later on. Don't want any surprise attacks coming on in with DTs yet again. And a Spire is most of the way done here now. It can be really tough to shift into Stargate with a lower economy later on like this. So much has been spent and invested in the DT tech so far that this can be a really rough transition. Essentially, you're doing this almost in response to the roaches that you're seeing, but by the time you get any meaningful number out, it's past roach time, or at least that's the least of your worries. At that point, you're either going to have mutas out, corruptors out, or hydras out that are a lot better at dealing with the void rays, and you're not going to have both the Gateway Army and Air Army really required to make the Void Rays all that effective, but he is going to get continue chroning them out, and we'll see how they do end up doing here. Against low numbers of mutas, obviously they could be all right, but once the muta count does get up a little bit, they can just kind of use their advantage in speed and, of course, the bouncing hits to just kind of take out Void Rays quite quickly, although it's good to have the Stargate there for a potential switch into Phoenixes to deal with harassing mutas. Mutas will make themselves known in the most subtle way that I've ever seen. They come in and poke at the single pylon there, forcing the Photon Overcharge out as he saw an opportunity potentially to go after the mothership core there, but ended up just kind of tipping off. Very often you want your mutas to make their first appearance directly in the mineral line. You want your first shot to fire against a probe, because just that little handful of kills you get is going to be pretty effective. Coming in here now, he was going to go for the mineral line, but actually sees again that there is a Stargate and will be going after the pylons here. Does manage to supply block the Protoss player, and the Void Rays coming on back in with these. I think if it was just like these Void Rays, yeah, as he does circle back. If it was just the Void Rays, he would attack them, and of course he is now. But with the Stalkers underneath them, he did not want to. And again, we'll back on out as the Stalkers that do have Blink will come up and be aggressive against these. The Mothership Core does go down, though, and that is a big pickup for our Zerg player. It's especially important to get the Mothership Core for the primary reason of preventing recall from being an option. One thing with this many mutas, like when you're getting your muta numbers up, the Protoss will often want to go out and make an attack because they know that you don't really want to engage directly with the mutas against a clump of Stalkers. But if you go out, they're going to swing into your base with mutas. So you want to have the recall available to bring them back home and actually defend. But by picking off the Mothership Core there, he knows he's delayed that by quite a bit, and that won't really be an option any point in the near future. He does find this pylon behind the 4th base on the top left-hand side, and it looks like he's going to be going for both a 4th and 5th at the same time, though this DT is going to at least contest this one. It does have to be canceled. He'll be able to remake that. Did he get it? Yeah, he actually killed the drone, so he'll have to bring another one down. There's a macro hatch going off in the main here as well for our Protoss player, and the mutas are going to be swinging in, I think, just in time to prevent this 3rd base for the Protoss from getting established. He'll get there before any of the cannons are actually up, or at least he will if he continues mildly to the left. He's actually putting a hatchery down on that side. First cannon does finish, but he will overwhelm that reasonably quickly. But these Stalkers here at Blink will come and drive him out. So he will be able to hold, and this will go up for the time being. 3 Phoenixes are out. Looks like 4 now. We'll try and chase mutas away, but that's just kind of paper cuts to them at the moment until he can get the numbers a little bit higher. But it's at least a little bit of a deterrent that if he comes in, he has to try and commit. Same with these turrets, or these cannons in a big way, that it's more of a deterrent of, they're not going to fight the mutas, but you've got to make them decide quickly, do they want to commit to an attack here and lose 1 or 2, or are they going to bounce out? Phoenix doing a good job here of trying to clear out some of the reinforcing mutas. And pretty good micro here so far by y54 with these Phoenixes to keep them alive, although a tiny bit of a misstep there as it does come in. Obviously, he doesn't have the extended range on those at the moment. The hatchery on the bottom right-hand side does complete. Opens up a number of possibilities potentially for a little later on. But this 3rd base is still defended by 4 cannons, actually, so it would take a bit of a force to do anything about that. 2 Void Rays on this side, they're going to die. They're completely hung out to dry and will go down. These Zealots are going to actually swing back as they see the Roaches coming in towards the 3rd base. He really does need to leave that alive, but almost without contest, they do go down as well. Stalker's now showing up with Roach support. He may now directly engage this, and he will get on top of them, blinking back, trying to stay alive. But I think this is overwhelming at this point. Supplies more than doubled for our Zerg player, and he will clean up all these Stalkers. The Phoenixes have been cleared out as well, and y54 has to call GG there. And we are once again going to a game number 3. I keep saying team, but then it's Chobo Team 6, It is y54. And his opponent, who has spawned as a Protoss, creating a mirror match situation. It is from NVIDIA's AGHL team, or yeah, AHGL team. After Hours Gaming League, yeah, AHGL team. It is Kirulan. Both of them obviously opening pretty similar here. They are both aware at this point, and a point a little earlier on, that they are both Protoss. So that obviously forces you down a certain route or two, unless you're going to be extremely cheesy with things. The cybernetics cores on the way for both players. However, Y54 is going for a second gas, a fair bit earlier than his opponent, who just grabs it now. Not a huge variation or anything like that, but pretty decent. One thing that is a fair bit different at this early stage in the game, I guess, is just the unit that he's getting out the... Yeah, although as soon as I started to say it, the opponent started to zealot there as well. Often someone will decide to skip that. Actually, he did cancel it. So he is going to go ahead and skip that. And getting the Twilight Council is Kirulan. So that could lead to a number of things. He's not actually started Warp Gate yet, though. Instead, going down for that Twilight Council a lot quicker, and is now chrono boosting out the Mothership Core. He's got the gas for Warp Gate, so he's intentionally opting not to get it at the moment. Where will this stalker pop out? I always get nervous when I see buildings like very tightly packed like this, that you may end up trapping something, because there is this space behind the gateway that something could accidentally get trapped. He's got it rallied in kind of a weird spot. And Warp Gate just starting there now. Yeah, like, can that get out? I'm not certain it should be able to, but I'm not certain it can actually get out, and I haven't seen him try yet. I don't think that can get out. So I think that stalker is actually stuck behind the mineral line there, which could end up being a really big deal, because we do have Y54 actually chronoing out his Warp Gate. Obviously, the Dark Shrine is on the way for Kirulan, and he's got his Mothership Core out fairly quickly, so he's going to be able to do the Photon Overcharge as necessary. I don't think he's got a forward pylon or anything out on the map, though, and it's going to be hard for him to actually get one up, given that there's no probe out there or anything. The Mothership Core is also, I think, dangerously far away from the Nexus. He's going to send the probe out here now. He might kind of skate away if the stalkers aren't paying attention. Yeah, and he does actually get away. Yeah, they should have been able to prevent that from ever coming out. The Dark Shrine is done now, but Warp Gate is not done, so he cannot immediately warp in a Dark Templar here. The Protoss of Y54 did not actually get close enough to see that the Dark Shrine was there just yet. He will get the probe up into the natural of his opponent. He's going to need a pylon down. A robotics facility is warping in his opponent's base just as he starts his pylon. So if he makes an observer right away, he's going to be ready. And yes, he knows about it. He opted for the double Dark Templar warp in at home. That really gives up almost all the initiative he had, unfortunately. One at home, maybe, but yeah, he's going to have an observer completely ready. His entire army's going home, and any little bit of initiative that Kirulan have is gone. Unfortunately, he got the Dark Shrine up without detection, but then kind of gave it away there. The DTs will get into the mineral line. It's actually kind of odd. His main force is not in a good enough position yet, so he will end up getting a lot of probe kills here that I'm not sure that he should have, really. But will go after this forward pylon now. The photon overcharge will end up taking care of these Dark Templar in the main, or at least if he keeps an observer with it. Yeah, there we go. But a lot of lost mining time, and does end up losing 8 workers there to only 3 lost on the other side. We've got a Nexus going down in the natural for Kirulan, and he was actually able to get... are these the 2 DTs that just kind of came home, or are they 2 new ones? I think they are 2 new ones. Here, and he's coming back in with the Stalker. Stalkers again, but they're attacking a pylon instead. There's still a lot of vulnerability due to that lost mothership core. With the detection, there is not necessarily going to be an easy defense for this. If he's got detection with them, 3 DTs, even like 5 or 6, is not really enough to actually stop an actual army. Here, he's going to be queuing up a mothership core, but unfortunately it's behind a bunch of probes, and I think he's going to lose these as the observers are obviously in place now. He's going to end up having to give up this Nexus at the bottom at the very least, and kind of needs to get something like a force field up to prevent this from being an outright loss at this point, because I'm not sure that he can actually stop the onslaught that y54 has coming. And as that is dead, he'll get the pylon up on the high ground. The army is moving in. There is basically an Artosis pylon here, but these are also hung out to dry anyway. And these gateways are never going to finish. A Immortal will pop out, but there's so many Stalkers that this may not matter. It's going to go down immediately without really getting more than 1 or 2 shots off. Archon warping in, and it looks like y54 is going to take this one and be the first player to advance out of Group C. Kirulan just kind of realizing that now, does type in the GG, and y54 will advance on